Multiplication of real numbers. The product of two real numbers with the same sign is positive. And this is true for the product of an even number of negative factors. We'll see some examples of this in just a minute. But the product of two real numbers with different signs is negative. This is true for the product of an odd number of negative factors. We'll see examples of this also. All right, and then our final rule is the product of any real number and zero is zero. So we'll see some examples of that too. Let's start by looking at some problems here and remembering that multiplication is just repeated addition. What do I mean by that? So if we have something like 3 times a negative 5, well, that's the same as negative 5 plus a negative 5 plus negative 5. Repeated addition. We add negative 5 to itself 3 times. Then we know that if we have all the same signs when we're adding real numbers, then we end up with the same sign at the end, all negative. So our answer will be negative, and then we just add 5 plus 5 is 10 plus 5 is 15. So 3 times a negative 5 is negative 15. All right, 2 times a negative 5 is negative 5 plus negative 5, and that's going to be negative 10. 1 multiplied by negative 5, that's going to give me negative 5. Just one time, obviously, we have equal to negative 5. All right, and 0 times negative 5, we have seen that in our rule here, the product of any real number and 0 is 0. So this is 0. All right, can we see a pattern starting to take place here? We have negative 15, then we go to negative 10, negative 5, and 0. We're moving on the number line to the right towards positive. With each time we go from here to here, we're adding 5, right? And we're here, the pattern of these answers, we're adding 5, and we're adding 5. Negative 15 plus 5 is negative 10. Negative 10 plus 5 is negative 5. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0. Okay, so let's continue this pattern. In this case, we're subtracting 1, right? Minus 1, and then minus 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. Okay, so now our next one here, this will be negative 1 times negative 5. And this one, how do I add something a negative number of times? That's not so easy for us to see, but we can know that our pattern is still holding true. That was down negative 1. This will go and be a positive 5 because I'm going to add 5 here. All right, negative 2 times a negative 5, that's going to give me 10 plus 10 because I'm going to add another 5. Negative 3 times a negative 15, that is going to give me a positive 15, and the pattern continues. Plus 5, and so on. You can see here that we have two negatives, and two negatives, the product of that is going to give us a positive. And that's true for any even number of negative factors. So let's look at some more examples here of some problems using multiplication. And we can have, how about this one? Negative 5 multiplied by a negative 2 multiplied by 4 multiplied by negative 10. Well, we see the sign. We have 3 negatives, negative and a negative. These first two, that makes it positive. Positive and a positive, that's still positive, but now I have one more negative, or 1, 2, 3, an odd number of negatives. So I know my solution will be, my product or my solution will be a negative. Then I can just multiply my numbers. 5 times 2 is 10, 10 times 4 is 40, times another 10 is 400. Our answer here is negative 400. All right, let's try another one. What if we have 20 multiplied by a negative 3 multiplied by a negative 1. This will be 20 times a negative. This gives me a negative times another negative is going to give me a positive. 20 times 3, that is 60, and then times 1 is just, again, 60. And again, I'm writing the positive here just for effect so that you can see that that is a positive number, but in general we could leave that off. So this is how we multiply numbers with different signs. And again, just one more example. If I have 0 multiplied by, let's say, 6, negative 6, that's going to give me, I have one negative, but 0 trumps everything. 0 multiplied by anything is 0, and 0 again isn't positive and it isn't negative, it's just 0. So that is multiplication of real numbers.